All right, everybody, welcome back. Another episode of the Man Card Podcast, obviously with your host, Dave Hurt, Coach Tut. We got a special guest, Justin J.G. Geyer, on here today, and the man, the myth, Wes Watson, someone that we've come across, we've been following for a long time. So want to get on, shoot the shit. Obviously, a couple big subjects to dive into, the main one, the man shit, but someone super real that we followed. So thank you guys for hopping on today. I appreciate it. You looking like you're down there in the fucking sun, and we're getting piled up with snow here today again.
Oh, man, it's lovely right here. San Diego, I mean, we get taxed like a motherfucker here, but it's worth it, I get. Hey, this is where I was born and raised. Born and raised, San Diego. I mean, only time I ever spent away from here was when they sent me out of state to different prisons while I was incarcerated. Came right back to downtown where I left. Love it. Had nothing else in my vision. Never planned on living anywhere else in my life.
Never ventured up north at all, any bit, or out east?
Nah. Been around the country when I was younger, but once I got into my hustle days and everything that landed me up to prison, I was just always chasing a certain lifestyle, and that's what landed me in prison. But I never really traveled that much. Once I went to prison, I realized that the only travel should be done inward anyways. And if you're not doing it, if you haven't got a certain level of growth, a certain level of wisdom, if you haven't achieved a certain fucking level of understanding of life, anything else is just entertainment still, even if you're fucking traveling. And so people really shouldn't even travel until they achieve a certain level of personal growth to begin with, in my opinion, anyway.
Fuck yeah. For the people that don't know you, or don't follow you yet, just a little bit about yourself. Obviously you kind of touched on where you were born and raised, but what you do, what makes you who you are, how you kind of grew into the spot that you're currently at and what you're doing.
Okay, my name is Wes Watson. I'm from San Diego. I'm a mindset training and nutrition coach. I started off my career on YouTube, sharing my stories about the motherfucking penitentiary in California, how I got there, did 10 years, came out, and within 3 years started an 8-figure business off of technology that I didn't even fucking knew existed that whole time I was down. And I mean, just the fact that I have to show you guys what worked for me. I know our life's purpose is to create the man we admire in all ways and give that motherfucker to the world. Create the man you admire in every way and give that man to the world. That's our purpose here. That's what we're doing here. Everybody's just confused because they're chasing some external gain. All I did was come out and share what worked for me in those days of torture while I was in the penitentiary, missing my family, my friends, my life, all pleasures, and how I got through it with an unbreakable mindset.
And do you think that going through that, with, I guess that experience kind of made you come out a lot different than you were before? Did it make you who you are?
I was a fucking pussy before I went in. I was just literally chasing all pleasure. I would drink like a motherfucker, do drugs, seek instant gratification with all the foods I ate. I was one of those half-ass workout dudes who had a little bit of size but couldn't fucking diet to save his life. I mean, he would drink protein shakes, but every other meal was something for pure pleasure. So I had a bunch of fat on top of some muscle. And I just was a half-ass motherfucker in all areas of life. But I wanted that full life. I wanted all that success. I had vision. I had the dreams. But I didn't realize I was barely putting in 40% of my value. And then when I buckled down and I got rid of all the vices, I got rid of all the pleasure seeking, and I really went for something that I had a vision for, that's when I started to change everything. And that was when I went within and I realized that I was truly after the internal attributes that created success over the actual success. Because I live a fucking crazy life, and I have since I was younger. I've had everything I wanted since I was 16 on my own fucking admission. I sold drugs at 11 years old. By the time I was 16, I bought the dream vehicle I wanted off the fucking lot. I went and bought a Chevy Silverado Z71, lifted it, TVs in it, everything, drove it to high school for like 9 months. Wasn't good enough. Sold that, bought the Escalade. And at that time, that was like, like rapper shit, like cool celebrity shit. I'm driving that motherfucker to high school. I have expendable money. And it's because I'm pushing big packs of weed, and I'm living that type of life. And I just only chased like external validation. And I knew it always left me empty because I wanted love. I wanted fulfillment. I wanted the shit we all want. But I was just chasing all the stuff that society told me would make me a man. That's the biggest fucking problem right now. is everybody doesn't realize is the problem in society is there is no true rite of passage for young men. So they watch these fake ass motherfucking gangsters on TV. They watch these fake ass rappers, these fake motherfuckers, and they follow this path of external gain that leaves them void of any true feeling. Now, I'm out here to show that, yes, we can have stuff, but we have to validate with the internal attributes of a solid motherfucking man who operates from character, who operates from integrity, who operates from hard work and discipline. And I mean, this is the whole thing is I've always lived a life where I had everything I wanted, but it was on my own gain. I've never been given everything. I grew up poor, lower middle class. My family always tripped on paying the bills. My dad was a construction worker, a real fucking man, 6'5", 280, 22s on the hang with fucking veins everywhere, never even lifted weights. He was just a beast. And I mean, this is just what shaped everything. Because I always tell people, acquire what you admire. And that goes for the positives. And then just always having deductive reasoning and saying, I don't want these negative attributes. But the main thing is really being the role model we needed. And in the penitentiary, I saw these bitch ass, fake ass, tatted motherfuckers, face tats, fully blasted, their gangs on them and everything. And they live so fucking soft. I'm like, man, this ain't what I thought it was. Like, I was a swole student, the motherfucker. These dudes were just fat. They were just fake buff, like just fucking bloated, eating too much, and not really hard in the sense of living hard.
You bring up the point, Dave. Dave and I were talking about that with Sean on the last episode. Was people are gonna find a role model because the lack of masculinity, I guess, or the man, the figure in people's lives. So, and what's the first place they're gonna do it? They're gonna go on their fucking phone.
Well, that was actually something I wanted to bring up. I mean, Wes, it sounds like you had a strong father figure in your life, a role model. So why did you seek it elsewhere? Why didn't you use him as the example?
Because his weakness financially. So his weakness financially, he didn't realize he was coming in every fucking day, our whole lives, and just having money problems, having bad energy about a financial situation. And he always desired stuff he didn't have. So he always desired stuff he didn't have. And I was just like, what the fuck can't you get this for? And I still, to this day, I'm like, why can't you guys get something that you're after every fucking day? Don't you see the issue? And I just am dumbfounded that people can stay in the same position for so long and not realize that they need to point at their motherfucking self. So it was a victim mindset, thinking that he couldn't do anything other than what he knew, which was construction. He was a beast. I look up to him for his work ethic. I look up to him for how much of a real man he is. He is way different than me, where he's just calmer. He's just a fucking true beast of a man with them hands that are just sickening. You know, you're just like, that's a man. Like, I'm not manly like him. I take more after my mom, but then I built my body. He's just one of them beast Paul Bunyan motherfuckers. But like just that motherfucker, you're like, okay, you will fucking ruin me. And it just, he didn't understand so many other aspects. So I sought to make it whole by saying, yeah, I admire this about you, Dad. You need to tell your story better to yourself, motherfucker. You put those boots on every day. I respect and I love you. Don't tell yourself the sob story about how you're not financially there. Tell yourself the real story about how hard you work and the real motherfucker you are, and then build yourself up positively to go attack these other things. But that's what he didn't do. That's what I'm teaching.
Yeah. So for folks who maybe aren't as familiar with your story, and I don't know how much you divulge this normally, but you know, what ultimately landed you in the pen for 10 years? And then what was that business that was 8 figures that you created when you came out?
Okay, so I sold a lot of weed, big packs of weed. I started off selling ounces at a young ass age. I was getting pounds and pounds by about 16. By the time I was 18, 19, I was already a millionaire. I lived downtown in the best building. I had a Range Rover. I had fucking a house in Encinitas. I mean, at a young age, I was studying credit, my credit score at 14. Like, I was not going to wait, because you go one of two ways. My brother just said, fuck money, and steered away from it and turned into like a scumbag. And then I was just like, well, fuck this. I'm gonna solve this problem for my family. I did solve the problem. I solved it too good, to where my parents rolled up to my house in Encinitas, and my dad's like, "What, do you think you're like Scarface or something?" And I'm like, "Oh, what? What do you mean?" I had like a $1.8 million house in San Alejo Hills in Encinitas, and I had a condo downtown, and I had 3 cars, and I was barely like 22 years old. And so the whole thing was, we were weighing our money back then. We didn't even, You see those people with money counters on their hip, like in a movie where they got the money counter right there. You don't fucking do that. We got so much money, we weigh that shit. Every fucking bill, we put it down on the shit. It's 50 grams. That's $1,000 in 20s. Boom, 50 grams. Band it up, running through millions of dollars. But I mean, the thing is in the weed game, it was big at that time, and then it started to slow down because it got more legal and it got flooded. But some kids fronted some guys some weight. Some kids who worked for me, I didn't see nothing or touch nothing by the time I was killing it. Everybody worked for me. So then I've never had a job in my life. I've never reported to a job in my life, except for 2 days in prison in the kitchen, where I reported to the kitchen and was like, fuck this, you can take my TV, whatever you want. So the first job I ever had in my life, I got paid 8 cents an hour. Just to let you know, my first job, I got 8 cents an hour when I was 26. But never had a job before that. Was always my own man. And then so I started selling the weed and I was pushing this weight and everyone worked for me. These kids front this dude. And then the dude's like, these kids are pussies, and they're just like, can't get the money back from the dude. And the kid's like, dude, my guy's going to have a problem if you don't pay me. And it's a lot of money. It's 50 pounds. So I tell the kids, I'm like, get it back or it's your ass, And then these are kids that are close to me. I'm trying to show like a better life and build up. And they can't get it back. And the dude says, fuck your dude. And so I say, okay, well, bring this motherfucker down and tell him to bring some work or whatever. And I'll check, I'm going to talk to him, And they're like, you can talk to him? I said, yeah, I'm going to talk to him. And then I see him, they said he's a normal guy. And I see him pull up and he's like 6'6", he's got a big old beard. I'm like, that's a normal guy to you? And they're like, yeah, it's a normal guy. I'm like, that's not a normal guy. That's like a 6'6" biker, dude. What the fuck? They're like, so you don't want to do it? I said, no, I'm going to kill his motherfucking ass. And they're just all, fuck, dude, Jesus way. And so then, I get the dude, we bring the dude. I've never admitted to any of this, and even in court or anything like that. But long story short, dude fucking is in the hotel room. Something happens. I don't know how he lives. He fucking somehow lives. And then 8 months later, the U.S. Marshals pick me up and they say, you're fucked, I'm like, oh, what? Like, I come out of the gym and they stick an AR-15 in my fucking face. And they're like, hey, you're done. And I'm like, no, what is this for? Is this a probation violation? Because I had got caught with 12 pounds of weed before this. And I signed a joint suspension. That joint suspension was for 5 years. If I get in trouble again, I have to do it 5 years. And the guy's like, nah, this ain't a joint suspension, bro. This ain't a violation. And I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck? Okay, whatever. And I had been running such a muck on meth and drinking for so long and robbing a lot of people and being a horrible dude that I was like, oh, and I look at my girl at the time and she's like, oh, like this is probably what happened the other day. And something had happened the other day that I got a life sentence for sure. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. I look at my girl, I'm like, yeah, life's over, okay, I get it, life's over. And then he's like, you don't know what this is, do you? The U.S. Marshal dude. And I'm like, he's like, we have a lot of calls on you. You know that, right? He's like, you don't know what this is, though. And he just tells me what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay, I could probably beat this one. So then I tried to beat it, and I lost at trial. And the exposure was 28 years. Ended up getting 10 years. Gotcha.
And then you came out and you said you started a business that did 8 figures, but it was with technology, or did I hear that?
Yeah, so in prison, there's ways to do shit. And, I know how to pull some strings. I know how to make shit happen. So I fucking go on my Instagram. I was posting, I was having posts made while I was in prison, motivational posts in about 2015 when I was still incarcerated, 2014, 15. I saw like Rich Piana and these dudes, and I'm like, okay, I see this tool known as Instagram. I see these hashtags. I can see the marketing behind this and how it's a massive marketing tool. And then I was like, okay, I get this. I'm going to do it better. So I just made the decision that day on my first Instagram post that I'm going to do it better than these people. Because guess what? I like the guy. I like his motivation, but he ain't as real as me. He's not. He's trying to look like me, actually. And I'm the motherfucker who really did the time. And I get what they're trying to look like, and they ain't me. So, I mean, the point is over the time, I just solidified this mindset that I needed to fully get into other people's minds. And the way I was getting into other people's minds was by being honest about my self-talk during my adversity and my endeavors, because I knew that was the root of what caused people to fail. So the root that causes people to fail is their self-talk during times of adversity. And I'm going through the most adversity you've ever seen in your fucking life at the time. So to really pay attention to my self-talk and make that be the cornerstone of what I'm going to use to build people once I get out, I just knew I could become the best coach because I had the best textbooks, life. So life being the best textbooks that I'm going through, I'm making sure that my self-talk and my actions are turning me into this person that I need to be to really run it in on these motherfuckers when I get out. Show them that they don't got it. I'm more dedicated. I can run it in harder and I don't falter. And so then I used the tool to just really show people that every day, from the moment I stepped out of the penitentiary, I did not miss a day, did not miss a post, did not miss anything. So since the day I got out, I have not missed one thing on any social media platform. I have not missed one workout, not one meal, not one wake up time, not one time. I've woken up at 2:45 every morning for the last 13 years, and I've documented it every day since I got out. But this is what I do. I teach discipline. I teach the root of success. Other people just try to show you the blueprint. Okay, a lot of people got blueprints, but how do you get a motherfucker to follow through on the blueprint is the fucking problem. I can get people to follow through, and I do at the highest level.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you said technology, you meant like social media, all the different platforms.
The internet, using different platforms, and then using coaching apps to track people's macros, their training, and then using Zoom to do mindset training. So I do mindset coaching. I do business coaching, teach people how I built my business. I mean, I get people, I get people like a 5-figure fucking return on their investment in 1 month, teaching them how to do what I do. And then it's exponential growth from there. And so our goal is to learn shit and then teach. I mean, when we teach, we learn twice. And motherfuckers don't even learn once. This is what I'm laughing about. These motherfuckers got everything at their fingertips and they're not even trying to fucking figure anything out. The level of comprehension is very low. The level of follow through is very low, but I'm continually impressed by the guys that get on my team and snap into it like that from some mental unlocks. So I know it's mindset. It's always been mindset. It always will be. And we just need to get through to everybody in the age of information that's coming. So the industrial age is done. It's dying. It's dead. Everybody's going to lose their fucking jobs. We're moving into the age of information. That's why we're on this. That's why this is a new teaching platform. This age of information. So the people who are going to excel in the age of information are those that are more spiritually inclined. Spiritually inclined meaning I know where to place information and I know how to get through to you because my spiritual inclination is from me to the universe, to above, to creation, to where I get it at a different level. I'm more intuitive. I understand my conscience more. I understand my conscience is the authentic voice of creation, authentic voice of God. And I know where to place knowledge. I know how to make moves. I know how to get you to make moves. And this is the difference. Other people just don't get that, yes, the information is everywhere. But why the fuck can one person find it all, structure it, and apply it and get a result? And why can't another person?
Yeah, that's a good point, man, because we truly do have everything at our disposal these days. Like the knowledge of the world is right here. And
Sean Whalen even said, like, he's built multiple businesses. I know you had him on recently. He's built multiple businesses off of Google. Why can one man do that and one can't? It's because he's more intuitive. He can trust himself more. He has more confidence. He's following through on vision. I believe vision, and I say vision, is our direct path in this life. And we're being gifted that vision from above. And if we follow it to a fucking T, this is alignment with our authentic self. So alignment with your authentic self is not lying because you're a lazy fucking bitch. So if your fucking vision is, man, I got to be 250, I got to be torn, I got to be blasted, I'm going to have a chick like this, I'm going to be this type of dad, I'm going to work like this, I'm going to do this, then you have to do all those steps and illuminate your path as you go. That's how mine started. I had to be jacked, I had to be blasted, I had to look this way, and then I had to start getting these quotes, getting this wisdom, doing this self-help work while in prison. And now that I followed all these steps and had no definite gain in the end, it turned into my grand purpose being just obvious. Now people are like, oh, obvious, that's your purpose. It wasn't fucking obvious then when I was putting the work in a cell, stuck there for 14 months at a time, not even coming out to shower, having to take a bird bath on the toilet, pouring water over my head. It wasn't obvious then, but I was working, motherfucker. That's the difference between me and you. I trusted my vision from the very, very, very beginning, and you don't know how to work on imperfect action. Motherfuckers like Sean do. Motherfuckers like me do. And that's what we're doing. We're instilling deep intention to their purpose so that they can follow through.
That's fucking, I mean, you hit the nail on the head too. And I think you talking about, you've documented everything. You've put it out there of what you've done and showing who the fuck you really are and not holding back. Right. So that's a big issue. That's a lot of the stuff that we talk about on here is getting judged for shit, for just being who you are for no fucking reason. Do you get a lot of pushback for how transparent you are about your shit?
I don't give a fuck. I say all of it. Like I tell people how I had to hide shit in prison up my ass. And I don't even consider the downside. I tell people about my marriage and problems we have. I tell people everything because I want people to learn. We learned everything in our lives through stories. Like Columbus sailed the ocean blue, Like we came to America. We learned through stories. Stories put you into flow state. So I tell a story, get you into flow state, get you to engage, and then I teach you some wisdom and leave you with the end outcome. So, I mean, this is how I get people to learn very well on GP Penitentiary, like my YouTube channel, because I know how to teach people. We have to get them engaged with the story, get them to drift off with them, get them to be in the flow state with us. So they're not pulling away. The whiteboard teacher doesn't get it. He doesn't get that he's just being judged. He's got the whiteboard out. He hasn't engaged them with the story. He's telling just facts. And they're like, who the fuck is this guy trying to tell me some shit? They're just judging the guy. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And that when people get on here on Instagram and shit, and they're trying to like do a workout video, motherfucker, you can't tell people what to do if they don't know you, who you are. They have to know you. You have to build trust with them. You build trust with them by sharing stuff that's close to you. Everything other than the product you sell is what's going to make you successful in this game. I get way more feedback when I show my life and then I show my workout small in my story. I've never posted on my fucking wall a fucking workout start to finish of like, hey, this one's front raises and shit. I don't fucking do that because that shit's obvious. Hop on my team. I'm going to make you this shit. But what I do dig deep into is the mindset. And then I share my life to build trust with the people. If you can connect, you can lead. And you ain't going to connect on something that they don't know about. You're selling them macros and training and mindset. They don't know about it or they wouldn't even buy it. So how are you going to connect on something they don't know about? Connect on something that they know about. What's most personal is most general.
Do you find that, sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you find more people reaching out to you? And obviously you put yourself out there, mindset coach, nutrition, training, for the mindset aspect of it rather than strictly for physical?
Yeah, because I speak a lot about vices and I speak a lot about like drugs and alcohol, vices, eating too much, fucking laziness, fucking all this shit. Most people come out for the vices. Like they need to get rid of something they know is holding them back. And I'm saying, I ain't selling you a hack, motherfucker. I'm teaching you habits. And these habits are the for sure way to get the future you want. If you have certain daily habits, I can tell you your fucking future. If I see your daily habits, it's done. It's obvious.
I think a lot of the people, I always say, like Dave and I talk about it, you can find a fucking workout template online everywhere. It's figuring out how to make it fit for you, implement it, stick to it, stay disciplined, all that shit. So all of it goes back to the mindset from the top anyways.
Hey, you're not going to follow through if you don't have the correct mindset to follow through on it. And what we have to do to break your bad habits is to find something you love more than that bad habit. And that's what I do best. I'm like, oh, you selfish motherfucker. And I'm like, you don't love I'm like, you do love your son, bro. To like the fat dad with the 18 pack who's a dipshit motherfucker. I'm like, you do love your son. You love him as much as you love yourself, which is very little. And he feels that. He feels that. You have very low energy. You love yourself very little. You're proving it with your actions daily that you're downing these beers. You eat like shit. You treat yourself like shit. You don't fucking follow through on all the stuff you want him to follow through on. I'm like, dude, you're fucking transparent as fuck to me, baby boy. And they don't get it. Like, they don't get that anything we wish to give externally must be first created internally. So that love you create for self you can only give at the exchange it was created within. You can only give that to people at the exchange it was created within. So those who have a high level of self-love, self-respect, they love and respect people at the highest degree.
Yeah, I think that one hits home a little bit too, because you see people trying to put stuff into people. I think, Dave, you were posting about it the other day. It's like, you're going to trust a fat trainer. If you can't get yourself to commit to it, how are you going to, be able to give it to a client? Shit like that. Like it's
that's just ridiculous.
Well,
I stay like single digit body fat year round because I'm just sickened by people who just can't fucking understand it. I mean, we have to personify the teaching for others to wish to learn,
Yeah, dude, it fucking drives me crazy. Like, you expect somebody to trust you and believe in you, and you can't even do the things you want them to do. Like I was posting about it yesterday on my story, Todd. Like, I was like, how are you going to be a strength and conditioning coach and not be strong or conditioned? Like, how are you going to be a nutrition coach and be fucking fat? Like, it pisses me off. But I wanted to ask, like, so both of my parents were in and out of prison my whole life. They're gone now. And I hated them. I hated my parents. The whole reason I was successful and built my company that I sold was because I was trying to not be my parents. And the one thing I did enjoy about that aspect of my parents was their stories from prison, both of them. And I know it's kind of weird, but I was just curious if you have like a crazy story from prison that you could share, or like one of the craziest things you ever saw.
Prison's a taboo fucking world, bro. It's fucked up. I have so fucking many. Man, it's so crazy. Okay, there was this kid from Butte County, BCG gangsters. It's a white boy gang in prison, Butte County gangsters. And that's Butte County, Northern California. Okay. And he always wanted to be someone. He always wanted to be someone in the prison system. The way you get right to the top in the penitentiary is you whack a chomo. So a child molester, that's a chomo. And they're known to fall in the yards once in a while. They fall through the cracks. And this is how one fell through the cracks. We ended up in Oklahoma at a COCF, a California out-of-state correctional facility. Everybody at this prison in Oklahoma was from California. There was no Oklahoma prisoners there. They send you out of state to keep you off the Cali roster because they can only have a certain amount of inmates in Cali because it's overcrowded. So they send you out of state to keep you off the roster, middleman you to a company called CCA, Corrections Corp of America. Now, this company middlemans you and houses you out of state like some fucking cattle. And I was out there for a couple of years. And while we were out there, they were taking people from all sorts of yards in Cali, 4 yards, 3 yards, and they were dropping points to this level 3-yard North Fork Correctional Facility in Oklahoma. Now, there would be people who fell before Megan's Law was a thing and before cell phones were a thing and before paperwork checking was a thing. If you roll into the penitentiary, we check your paperwork and see what you got busted for. The cops won't put a child molester or a rapist on the GP mainline. GP is the name of my channel, General Population. That's mainline prison where there's no fucking rapists or any weird shit that you see in these fucking other states. California doesn't have rape. They don't have rapists. They don't have sexual predators. None of these people are white or Mexican and on the line. They will get killed in 1 second. They will not last 1 second. So from before this guy got busted a long time ago, old cat, gray hair, and people finally check his paperwork and he's out of state because before they didn't have cell phones when he fell and had like a D number from 85. And now we're in North Fork, Oklahoma in 2011 or 12. And fucking Megan's Law is like a thing. And everybody's doing roll call, checking everybody in the prison's name on the cell phone. And this fucking old dude pops up. He stayed under the radar for so long, either because the people at the other yard didn't want to deal with it. And they were just like, fuck it, I don't want to have to do this. Usually it's because of dope and they're doing drugs and they're bringing drugs in. So they don't want to kill this dude because it'll stop the flow of drugs and they want to get high. That's usually what happens. It's called dope fiend politics. So anyways, the guy slides through. He's in the Oklahoma place. And this kid, Bobby, he wants to gain his stripes. So he makes a piece, a tomahawk, where we break razors down and put like 10 razors, melt them into a toothbrush handle. And he comes up behind the guy at chow, he cuts his neck, slices his face all crazy. That's how you trademark them, is you slice their face over their eye and just fucking whack. And so that's how, like, someone rolls up with one of those, you're like, okay, what the fuck? Like, leave that dude in the cell till we figure out who the fuck he is, you know? So he trademarked him and they cut his neck. And this was like literally in front of the chow hall during the day. And he was just didn't even get even close to getting away with it. So, I mean, he just ends up going back to the dorm. They come swoop him up. And then he ends up in the SHU, the security housing unit. That's the prison inside the prison. 2.5 years later, I get a SHU term for an in-house weapons charge and a severe bodily injury on an inmate. So I get my own charge. I end up in the shoe, and he's still back there. This is like almost 3 years later, and he's still in segregation. And I'm signing to him. I'm like, hey, Bobby, what's up? I'm talking to him from the window because you can't see anybody, and we're signing back and forth about his case. He's like, Wes, there's no deal. There's no deal. I'm done. I'm getting a life sentence. And he kept fighting the case. And luckily, during that time, there was a riot. And during that riot, there was 187 attempted murders handed out. You can look it up, Google it. North Fork Correctional Facility riot. It'll pop up. The National Guard came. All this shit. Like, we're fucking mangled that prison. Like I said, 187 attempted murders were handed out from the cameras alone. There was probably 400 assaults that were sickening. I mean, homies going in their cell, smoking more speed, coming back out into the day room where the cops, these are security guard cops. They're not CDC cops. They're CTA cops. They're scared as fuck, and they make $14 an hour. They're in the fucking office like, please God, don't kill us. And these are dudes that are from LA hoods, and like these are dudes who are with the business, and they're going in their cell, smoking more speed, coming out, and just, it's Mexicans versus blacks, whites versus blacks versus, it's one side of the day room versus the other. So on one side of the day room in a Cali prison, there's Southsiders, Woods, which are whites, and there's Paisas. And then on the other side, there's blacks, there's Asians, and there's fucking Norteños. So, I mean, during this shit, like, it all exploded, and we were just killing each other for like 8 hours. And I mean, the worst part is when this one guy, he was stuck in the day room. He was a black. He was stuck outside his cell, and they were just hitting him in the head with the microwave that was out there, because this place had shit like that. That's what they do. They bring you out of state. They're like, oh, you got ice and you got a microwave. Like come out of state. Like, you could have cable TV and video games. Like, I don't give a fuck about your video games. I want to see my fucking family, dude. They're like, you don't have a choice. You're going anyways, but we gave you these comforts to make you weaker. Everybody got weaker out there. Trust me. So, I mean, so then they're just smashing his dude's head in with the fucking microwave. They start cutting his feet off. I mean, just the sickest shit you've ever seen. And this is like one of like a million. Like, during these times, like, it's battle royale. Like, people are sharpening broom handles, just plunging them in motherfuckers. And it's just like, you start to see in someone's eyes, you're like, oh no, fucking, you're like, fucking Speedy's a good dude. And then you see him when it's about to crack, you're like, oh no, he's a horrible dude. Like, you look at the eyes, like, no, he's a fucking straight killer. Like, and you're like, no, we've been friends forever. And then it's about to crack between your two races. You're like, oh, he was going to totally kill me. Like, he didn't give a fuck. But I mean, like, yeah, that's the difference. There's just so many stories that I got all day. That's what on GP Penitentiary, I share stories like that. And then I share how to overcome such a negative life. When cupcakes out here are looking out at a nice ass view and their beautiful life that ain't even hard, and they're making a fucking mountain out of a fucking little molehill, man.
Do you think that I don't know the best way to phrase this, but I often wonder this about, I've never been to prison, but like I said, both of my parents, like a bunch of people in my family. So I've always heard tons of stories about it. So I'm really interested in this whole aspect of it. But like, do you think that it's closer to like the true, like primitive human nature being in that setting where it's literally just like fucking, I guess, do you think that we almost live in a false reality out here after being exposed to that setting for 10 years? And I guess you were kind of alluding to it when you said people are soft and they don't have real problems.
Yeah, I was the height of it, though. Like, I was the height of what an inmate should be and a convict should be. Like, I had the utmost respect for others. I conducted myself a certain way, which was just so programmed and so on point to where I'm not in anybody's way. Everything's super clean. I don't use drugs. I'm on point. I'm ready to go. My hands raised. And this is what we're supposed to be. But then it falls off. And I mean, the drugs get involved. It's a problem. But yeah, it just was it was what we're supposed to do as humans. And what I try to teach is inward validation of your character. Like, no matter what your situation is, when you wake up, how the fuck do you conduct yourself? And that's what makes you proud, not the outcome. If I just started fucking drinking a shitload, womanizing and being a piece of shit, it don't matter if I live up here in this penthouse and I have a Lamborghini, I have a Rolls Royce, I have a Mercedes, I have millions of dollars. It doesn't matter if I have all that, if I feel like shit from my conduct and my character, because the only time we willingly lose moments of our life is when we break character. And so people don't realize their consistent breaks in character do one of two things. They cause karmic debt, and then they just lower their self-esteem and they lower their self-image so bad to where they get into a depressed state, which they think it is, but it's just self-induced. It's not they're really just conducting themselves like shit and expecting to feel good about themselves because they've never had a true role model that's like, nah, this is how we do it. Boom, 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 boom. And now we feel great, stacking your wins throughout the day. And I teach people how to really build self-worth through self-investment, build self-love through self-investment. People think this shit's inherent. Like you can just choose to love yourself. No, you fucking can't. That's how you were acting, motherfucker. You can't lie to yourself and be like, oh no, I like being this fat. No, you fucking don't. Like you can like that you're progressing, but you can't like that you chose to regress and be less of yourself. Less makes you feel less. More makes you feel more. It's just as simple as it gets. But everybody believed what society fed them to weaken them. They fed them this shit. That it ain't about looks. It ain't about money. People got to accept you. But yet they're not accepting people and they're judging people. And then they don't want to be judged. It's like, nah, like you just really falling victims of what society did, which was take away all your power by saying you shouldn't have these things that build you up internally, because it's not the money, it's not the body, it's not the aesthetics, it's the work we put in to overcome these challenges that make us feel great. And if we don't put the work in, then there is no work. The work instills the work.
Yeah. And we just talked about this with Sean Whalen, you know, the whole, like, today there's this big push at like trying to even the playing field, opportunity.
I don't believe in equality at all. Fuck that. I don't want what you have if I didn't work as hard as you did. I don't want it.
Exactly. And that's the whole, like, equality of opportunity is fine. Like, yeah, we all have the same fucking opportunities to an extent. Like, I'll never be LeBron James, right? Like, I'm a fucking 5'10" white guy. But, you know, equality of outcome is a different fucking thing. Like, you're never going to have that. We will never have equality of outcome because we all have different gifts and different things we're good at, et cetera. And today I wanted to get your take on this. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know, but there's this whole push at, like, participation trophy mentality bullshit. And, like, you know, it doesn't matter that you worked harder, you know, everybody deserves to have the same stuff. And we talked about this a lot with Sean, and, like, from the perspective of a father, because I have a child, Tut has a child. I know you're a father as well, right? Yeah. So, like, how do we impart these lessons on our children when they're being spoon-fed this bullshit from school, from social media, from everything?
It's horrible. I did a video today. It dropped today. It was about paying your dues. And the video was about paying your dues. And there was a paisa that every morning for years did 500 burpees after chow. He was 50 years old, doing 500 burpees every morning after breakfast. And then one of my people tried to be in his spot because he was just oblivious, you know? And I said, the fuck are you doing? And he's like, I'm doing my burpees. And he's scared. He ain't like me, you know? He ain't ready. And so I'm like, the fuck you doing, dude? And he's just all, I'm just doing my burpees. I said, the fuck you in Chapo's spot for, big dog? And he's like, I'm like, didn't he earn that shit? Didn't he fucking earn that spot? And he's like, yeah, but he's not here. And I don't know if he's coming. I said, I don't give a fuck if he's not here. You better move the fuck out of his spot. And he's just like, damn. And I'm like, that's the level of respect, you know? I don't give a fuck. Like, and it's just, I don't want nothing. I want to earn everything. I wake up in the morning, earn my gratitude. Gratitude is action. I wake up every morning and earn that positive mental attitude by putting the work in. I go to the gym to get my mind positive. I'm already swole. I'm going to stay swole. Like, that's it. I've been working out for so fucking long. I don't really look any different if I eat X amount of calories or X amount of calories. People tell me I do, but I'm veiny, I'm big, I'm ripped, I got some muscle. What the fuck? It don't make that big of a difference to me. It's just how I feel. So if I'm not pushing myself super hard, I don't feel good. And so I know that if we really want the root problem of people not feeling good and not feeling fulfilled and enjoying their life, they have to push harder. And if we tell them that they just get a trophy by not pushing harder, we have fucked them and sold them so fucking short of what they could be. So never would I ever believe in that, because I attack the root. I teach people to attack the root, and the root of the problem is people aren't working hard enough to build that internal worth.
Yeah. And I think that, again, this is like a topic we talk about a lot because of the theme of the show. And you know, the whole toxic masculinity bullshit feeds into that, right? Because like, if you're, you know, a guy like yourself, a competitive alpha male, you want to be the best. Like, you want to be the fucking best.
People who say anything about any of that shit, I don't even think they approach me. I've never had it.
Well, it sucks, man, because again, talking about the perspective of a father, you know, our kids are dealing with this shit. Like, yeah, I know how I feel about it, and I live my life a certain way, but you know, it's a huge disservice because I get messages from young men who are like, dude, you know, I'm basically being pressured in school and elsewhere to not be myself. Like, I'm a competitive guy. I want to be the fucking best. You know, they're telling me that that's toxic, et cetera. And all you're doing is setting these people up for failure later in life, because what gets you to the top? Competing, being the fucking best, working your ass off. And now we're saying, no, don't do that. That's toxic, because that's an intrinsic male trait, right? And it's just, it's frustrating because like that's truly the only way to be successful in life. And they're telling our kids not to, and doing a disservice when they give out participation trophies to kids who did work their ass off, because they're basically saying like, you get the same shit even though you kicked their ass. So like, as a parent, I mean, is this something you've encountered at all, or like?
My son's only like 2, you know, I think he started his first day of preschool today.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, but he's just a beast. I know he's not going to have that problem. Like, I have problems with him hitting me already. I'm like, where did he learn this? I'm like, good. But we'll just control it on the back. I'd rather him be assertive and strong and confident in everything than to be a fucking bitch. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'd rather him be that way and me teaching him to calm down than having to teach him how to have a fucking backbone.
100%.
He's already got one. He's already got one. Like, dude, like, do not ball your fist up like that at 2, like, coming at me like that, motherfucker. Where'd you learn that? Like, we don't even do that really. You know, we don't watch no TV or nothing. So, but I mean, just, he has it in him. So I don't trip on that with him. But I hate that. But that's the thing is I just put out my true values on everything. And I get kids from like fucking 12 to like 17, like any minors that are just like, hey, you're the dad I needed. And that's one of my quotes is like, be the man you always needed.
Right.
And, yeah, show them that a true man is capable of extreme violence, but willingly forgoes it. I mean, you're not fucking positive if you don't have massive negativity in you, and you ain't peaceful if you ain't capable of not being, you know? I mean, so people, it's like, just because you're a fucking granola eating fucking hippie cupcake fucking motherfucker doesn't mean you're peaceful. You're just a pussy. You ain't even capable of the other end. Nothing happened. There was no true conflict that you had to overcome. If there is no stimulus, then your response don't mean shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, just, you know, with your son being naturally like that, I mean.
I love it. I'm like, babe, no, let him be like that. Like, we don't want the other end of that.
Exactly.
We don't want that fast kid to get picked on.
But don't let his fucking teachers tell him that he's not supposed to be that way.
They're gonna be like, he's gonna be like, my dad has a jet. I'm not listening to you. And he's ripped. He told me not to listen to dudes with titties. He said dudes with titties aren't trustworthy. Because guess what dudes with titties do? They don't want titties, but every day they wake up and don't listen to themselves and the steps they need to take to get rid of them fucking titties. That's the thing about fat people. I mean, how am I supposed to listen to you? You don't listen to yourself, motherfucker, and it's obvious. Every day you wake up and you're like, today's the day I'm not going to be a fat fuck anymore. And every day you choose to not listen to yourself. So until you choose to listen to yourself, I will just opt out of anything you're saying. Your word is void to me. I have plenty of mentors that are ripped, rich, and rare motherfuckers. And that's who I listen to. I mean, we have a choice now. I'm going to listen to the people I want to be with and not just exclude the fact that, yeah, Gary Vee's emotional and got money, but I don't want to look like him. I mean, I'm just not going for that shape. And guess what? He's not either. That's the sad part. There's a lot of these intellectuals, they know so much, but nobody's calling them on it. Like, I read the book, but I flipped it over. You didn't even look like you exercised anything that was in the book. So that's the fucking difference. As I'm going to write books about discipline, write books about living a certain way, and then you're going to flip it around. You're going to realize that the wisdom I was saying, I applied across the fucking board, not just in the one area that I had a strength. That's these one-trick pony motherfuckers, like the fat motherfucker in his Rolls Royce thinking he's got some clout, or the motherfucker who's a massive business owner and can't even take care of his health. You guys, everybody's in a position to be a leader, and a lot of these dudes just aren't leading correctly out of what? Pure selfishness. Their selfish desires are running them and causing them to be poor examples.
Yeah, and when you say that about people, like, nobody wants to look like that. Nobody wants to not do anything like that.
They're just liars.
And anybody that's judging you for the way you do shit or what you have, same thing with everybody else. It's they want it, or they want something along those lines. They want the freedom. They just don't want to wake up and put the fucking work in to do it. But that's becoming a fucking issue in society from the top down, where they're saying, okay, well, you don't have to do it. So we're going to give everybody a little bit, and everyone's got to be nice to each other.
Fuck that.
So
that's why we're going to create our own sector. We're like, nah, there's dudes who are really doing it in all areas. I'm not listening to you. Fuck you. Shut up. Wes, I'm not going to listen to you. Your word's void. Done. Bye.
Wes, you always bring up the idea of being committed versus just being interested, and I think that applies real well in this situation.
Yes, it's basically, it's across the board. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. All I need is a few pieces of wisdom, and I can commit them to every area of my life. And I'm just, intelligent people work on deductive reasoning. Fools just want a pat on the back for what they did do. I only see what remains to be done. So I just look at the weakness that needs the most fucking attention, and I'm going to crush that. Like, I'm going to extinguish that weakness so quick, because that's the hardest part. I mean, I'm not going to stand on my strengths and just be like, look at what I got. I'm going to focus on what's most difficult, because then that levels up your strengths as well. A lot of people are just standing on strengths and not magnifying their weaknesses. And they're so fucking stupid that they're teaching from their strength to your weakness instead of teaching from their weakness to yours. And I just don't even get people who don't understand that. Like, hey, I'm a fat fucking business coach who's going to teach you about your business, and you're ripped. And I'm not going to make the correlation of, here, I don't understand what's happening. I mean, the best people are like dudes like Steve Siebold, who's one of my favorite authors, who's like, why is the reason you're fat fucking up your business? Like, all this shit, like these real correlations, because those men understand that it's the internal attributes, not the hack or anything special you did. Because if you think it's a hack and not you, if you don't become the asset, you chase assets, then that's the biggest problem. The second you don't have that in, you're fucked. Someone who becomes the asset will always be successful. Hence the reason I was successful before I went in and when I came out. The asset I had before I came in and when I came out was the hard work and the commitment, because I was always hardworking and committed. I just had poor principles. Once I fucking structured the right principles around those assets, it was a wrap.
Dude, it is such a fucking mindset like that, because before I do any type of like podcast like this, public speaking, anything big event going on in my life, I have to work out before. Not because I think I look any different.
Before this, just to lift it up.
I fucking
love that, yo.
Your internal confidence and how you feel and what you're going to go project to other people starts from being like, well, I just fucking crushed this workout. I'm a bad motherfucker. Now I'm going to go kill this, where it's like, I'm going to wake up, roll through, be a little, it's so much of that shit starts with that and taking care of yourself. And it's just building up that internal confidence.
That's why we have so many bitches. It's because the way we view the world is a secret confession of character. That dude was a pussy ass bitch all day. So now he's just seeing that in everybody else. Those that don't reflect, project. And when you don't realize you chose to lose all day, so you see losers in everybody else, that's your fucking problem. I mean, the thing is, I chose to win all day. So I see the winner even in a loser. I see everything in there that can be done, because that's how I chose to operate. Those that fail to reflect, they project, and they don't realize that since they chose certain steps, they're always like, fuck the world. It's like, you're really just saying, fuck me, fuck you. Like, it's just, you're It's a secret confession of character, the way you view the world. I mean, that's who you are. So if you look around, you're like, oh, everything's so bad, it's so negative. You just that's what you're choosing with your daily actions. Those who stack wins in the morning, they see the winner next to them. Those who respect themselves, they respect others. Those who love themselves, they love I love everybody, even a motherfucker with titties. I love him so much that I'm gonna say, hey, motherfucker, let's lessen that D cup down to a B cup, and let's bring that motherfucker to no titties, and then let's fucking have your kid happy to walk up and down the beach with you. Because I know that's a big source of pain. You pussy motherfucker, you ready? And they're just like, damn, you read me like a book. I say, you're pretty easy to read, my man. And it's just what it is.
You seem like you sorry, Dave. You had a really good mindset before you went to prison, right? Like a winner's mindset. Like, I'm gonna fucking.
Like I said, like the difference between pros and amateurs is committed or interested, you know, and it's just what it is. I was a pro snowboarder before I went in, and I was a pro fucking drug dealer. I was always good at shit because I was committed. Like, I know people who sold drugs, they weren't good at it because they worked till they had enough money to pay the bills and stopped. I had a big vision. I was gonna fucking have a jet, you know. I just had the wrong route. Like, I had poor morals and a poor route. Once I straightened that out by getting more in tune with myself, being honest, and realizing karma's real and all this shit's real, and the way we operate and treat others is real, and I knew we couldn't move forward with negative actions in a positive way, then I really restructured everything, and my work ethic could work for me. I used to drive from Oceanside, North County, San Diego to Big Bear, which is like 3 hours away every day, to snowboard and film. And I told the first day I went up snowboarding, I did like a little 540 on like a hip. Like, and I told my friend, I'm going to go pro at this. And I did. And I mean, that's the same thing with Instagram. The first time I posted, I said, I'm going to make millions off this. And I did. And it's the sole thing of, I will not give up. And then success leaves clues. I have a successful post, and then the clues are everything deductive. Like a cupcake motherfucker who needs a pat on the back will think his shit's good. Like, he'll look at everything good he did. I won't. I look at everything wrong. So I look at a picture, I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? And I get rid of everything that's wrong, and what's right shines, you know? They just want to be promoted for what they did right. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you did right. Wake up today and do what you can't. Don't wake up today and do what the fuck you can.
Fuck yeah. And was there a time in there? Because like I said, you had that mindset going in, a winner dominate mindset that you realized that you wanted to use helping people and to grow yourself and your business. It was
the weirdest way. Like, the weirdest thing was I had no respect for everyone. And I saw that my no respect for everybody was fucking me up. I was getting so negative. I was sharking on everybody. I wanted to fucking kill them, you know. I was just mean to them, rude to them, didn't like them. I'm like, this is eating me alive. How do I solve this? And so I said, I got to build them up. I got to respect them. And then I would create motherfucking men I respected out of low-life bitches. And that's what I fucking saw was the way. I'm like, I can't live my life hating on people, sharking people, and being negative. So what's the other option? I see their flaw. They don't see it. That's the difference between a dumb motherfucker who criticizes and a real leader. A real leader can criticize, but only because he offers a solution. Now it's constructive. A fake ass motherfucker criticizes and has no fucking solution. So I would criticize these people, and I'd sit there in my head and be like, why am I torturing myself about what whiskey's doing? Like, why is it pissing me off so much? Because I cared about him. Because I saw more in him. Because what he was doing hurt me, because I knew what he was doing to his family, his kids, and everything. And I said, fuck that. If I see it, he doesn't, I have to bring him up. So I just took it upon myself to bring people up around me so that I could respect them too, and I could be free from these negative thoughts I had about these fake motherfuckers.
That's awesome. Being basically a motivated guy from the rip, right? Like you clearly were self-motivated, at least insofar as you wanted to be successful. Did you have like role models you looked up to, or did that come from anywhere specific? I know you mentioned the fact that dad wasn't great with money, so that was a point for you to say, well, fuck it, I'm going to make money. Was that the main driver, or like, where do you attribute that?
I mean, I just stole traits from people I liked. Like, oh, I like that about this person. I like that about this person, that about this person. And I just made this person that I needed to be out of everything I admired in different men that I was around. I mean, some of the dudes in prison, I'm like, damn. Yeah. I'm like, that dude Smokey just got an extra 15 years. And he's out there reading the newspaper like it didn't even faze him. And like, just like, I'm like, I don't want to get extra time, but can I be that composed during such a horrible event? And that's when I started to see that that's who you are. And I'm like, that dude, that's who you are. During times of adversity, when shit's really fucked, when life's really fucking negative and negative events are happening to you, that's your real level. So, I mean, I started to gauge my life and who I was by what I call like the inconvenience factor in my coaching. Like, you say you love your wife, but 15 hours into the day, when she tells you to do the dishes and you've done all this stuff, do you love her then? Or do you subconsciously say, you fucking bitch, I've been up 15 hours. You want me to do the dishes and you sat around all day? I hate you. This is why most people literally fuck everything up in their life. It's because they suck at that moment when they're tested. When they're tested, their subconscious thoughts tell the truth to the other person about how they feel, and their energy changes. So I've mastered the subconscious thought and energy control in the moment that matters. So the moment that matters, when she does ask me, hey, we need diapers, she doesn't realize I've been up since 2:45. I've done 6 Zoom calls. I've made fucking 30 grand in sales. I've fucking got food for all of us twice throughout the day. And I'm not sure she did that much, you know. I've managed to realize that doesn't fucking matter what she did. At that moment, it's who the fuck I am. And I love her to death, and I would give my life for her. So yes, I will go get the diapers. I'm thrilled to show you who I am at this moment. I've been waiting for it. And I go prove at that moment who I am. And that's exactly what we need to do, is master that moment. Wait for it, anticipate it. So anticipate these tests and then really shine. Those stand out. And by the way, my wife, I can't even say that tonight, because she crushed it today. First day that she ever went to the gym with me, and we were out front of that motherfucker at 3:45, and she's ready to just start it's her level up. Like, this is her season. And so this is the old stuff that I'm bringing up that taught me a lot, because we grow a lot from being around the people we're around a lot.
Oh yeah. But
now today was an amazing day, because she went to the gym with me this morning. It was cool.
So it was the first time today?
First time ever.
Fucking awesome.
Nobody would even dare want to go with me at my time, you know, which is, I'm up at 2:45. I'm in the car at 3:30, and I have my front row parking spot that I have to get every day, because I will not let someone be there before me. And that started in prison. In prison, you wait by the door for chow. And for 3 years straight at one prison, I had my cup, my spoon, my napkin rolled up, my clothes are pressed. I'm standing like this. And everybody knew that Wes is going to be the first person out that door. And it's not going to be just today. It's going to be every fucking day, because he's going to stand there for 45 minutes before, because he's first. He's the leader. He's first. And I never missed a day among like 3 different prisons, 2 years, 3 years, 2 years. Never, not once did one person leave that door in front of me over every movement, not just chow, yard, anything that was a pre-scheduled call. I was there like this. And I knew what I was doing. I was just showing them that I wanted more than them.
Is that a mindset that you had in you before you went in, you know, being so disciplined, so structured?
But in prison, like, you validate yourself with your program and how disciplined you are, how hard you work out, the results you get, how clean you are. This is all we have. People have money and all, but this is the real way you show who you are, because we know that shit's fucking hard and everybody is on display. So you're like, oh, look at this scumbag motherfucker. He's never up on time. And so, like, this is what we use to critique everybody. Oh, look at this dude. He's got his dirty boxers on the outside of his fucking bed. Put that shit in there, bro. Like, or motherfuckers who don't shower and stay clean. It's like, hey, dude, get the fuck in the shower right now. Like, how many days has it been since you showered? Motherfuckers who don't know the mode of operation in prison, you can't pay attention, can't see how it's run and act accordingly. And just all these things are what we gauge and validate you as. Like, that's your level. You know, this dude understands it all. So every prison I would go to, I'd be like, I don't want to run it here. Like, fuck, let me just lay low. Everybody would be so off that it'd be like, fuck, I got to step up again, because these motherfuckers just don't get it.
Do you think that I don't want to, ask if you regret whatever happened, regret it, would you be the same man you are today without those experiences?
Fuck no. Fuck no. But that's why I want to teach people how to fucking live in program like this and find like what we're really after, which is true alignment with our vision and raising our rate of vibration for others. I mean, I just adopted a mindset of fuck me. Like, I don't give a fuck about me. It's not about me. And I had to be that way because in prison, it's not about you. If one of your dudes is offline in prison, if one of your dudes goes and starts to fight with the cop, you have to kick that cop's fucking teeth in or you're getting stabbed. If one of your dudes goes and kicks it off, picks a fight with the blacks, then now look what happens now. You're fighting with them. You got to fucking stab everybody. You got to go back to the back. You got to lose 5 fucking years, 10 fucking years of your life because that one dude was out of line. So it's not about you in that aspect. You have to make sure your people are in line. If for your people to be in line, you got to be the leader they need. And I was.
I think it's fucking awesome that you're able to teach the lessons to the best of your ability that you learned in there and use that to grow, to give them those lessons without having to go through those same experiences and build other men like yourself, which with today's current fucking society and the climate of it, I guarantee you there's people, if we curse and we talk about this shit, they're gonna be like, oh, we shouldn't be listening to people like that. But those are the experiences. That's the type of person that are built to be able to be successful, love your family, love your wife, love your child, and win at life. And because of the way we look, the tattoos, the beards, the whatever, you're going to get judged on that when you've now made your life's mission helping other people, which I think
I love when people judge me. Like, they're like, look at this fucking dude. Then they see me go open the door to my Rolls Royce and they're like, oh, fuck, that's you. Maybe you should listen a little bit. Quit judging so much, I love it. My wife has tats all over her face. And they're like, we roll up and we look different. We are different. And we don't use nothing. We live a clean fucking, we're just solid as fuck, and that's what it needs to be. I want people to judge and I want to flip what they feel about people like us. I want to prove them wrong. Like, and then the people who look the squarest have the worst skeletons in their fucking closet.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that shit because
very true.
My mother is the fucking sweetest lady of all time, right? So I had her listen to the first podcast Dave and I did with Dave's story. Fucking jacked ass dude, big ass beard, tats, right? And she's like, I was not expecting that whatsoever because, they always say he's one of the smartest dudes I know. And she's like, and I'm so glad that I listened because I learned so much. He's so knowledgeable. He's one of the nicest guys ever, but he looks like a fucking, the way we all do, tats, jack beard, where you get judged. But when people finally fucking listen and they take that, everyone's going to judge, right? It just happens. It's science. But getting to know the people before you cast your final judgment is so fucking important. And that's the problem with today.
See, now people are just resonating a lot with reels. So, I mean, if you're just telling the real story, people trust you just so much more. And the thing is why are we doing this so well now? Why is everyone adapting to reel so well? Because we're being saturated with faces, energy, body language. And we're seeing it. So we're hyper analyzing people. And when before we just saw the people in our school, in our class, and we passed by, but now we're looking at a lot of people every day. So you're able to be like, that dude's real, that dude's fake, that dude's shit's real. And so you're able to just hyper analyze whether your intuition on people. And so a lot of people are just standing on their own 2 feet and said, no, I don't give a fuck. Like, what that dude told me worked for me. I don't give a fuck. Like, fuck you. Like, what he taught me something, it worked. What'd you do for me?
Dude, a lot of what I hear from people is like, they basically, they wish they were at the point where they were comfortable enough looking the way they want to look or conducting themselves the way they're like, dude, how are you have a mohawk and all this shit? I'm like, they're like, how do you do it? I'm like, I just fucking do it. Like, because I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks about how I look. And this is how I want to look. Like a lot of people who look like, to use your term, square, like when they really start to talk to you and they're like, man, I wish I could, have tattoos. I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that. Like, whatever, you name it, fucking, and it's just like, so much of that is what you've said, what Sean Whalen said, like just being aligned with your truth, like just being comfortable being who the fuck you are and not giving a fuck what anybody else thinks. And that message is so central to like what so many people I look up to in life talk about all the time. And it took me a long time to get there, fucking 3 decades plus. But it's so liberating when you finally do, because then you can cast aside all the other bullshit and focus on what's important to you, right? And it's fucking beautiful. And so many people are just...
That's what I told people in my post today. I said, like, I put up a picture of like abs and muscles and shit. And I said, I don't want you to fucking be swole like me or say, oh, Wes, I don't want to be as big as you. Fuck that. Fuck me. Like, fuck anyone else's. How swole do you want to be? Acquire what you admire. Like, be exactly what you see in your mind. And I'll show you how to get there,
It is liberating to people. You can see a lot of people will come up to me too, like, I wish I could have a fucking full sleeve tattoo, but I can't because of this in my field. And I'm like, or stuff along those, I wish I could have a beard. I'm like, you can see the fucking pain in their eyes because they're not being true to themselves. And you walk around and be like, I do. I have exactly what the fuck I want because I'm comfortable enough and I don't care. And you can see the people that have to keep that fucking shit inside. They're the people that have the biggest problems.
Yeah, the reason, the biggest thing is like, people don't realize that those are the sellouts. Like, the whole thing is I didn't sell out on my vision for money. I lived exactly what I lived in prison and spoke the same way, and it worked for me, And that's the thing is, people will sell out on their vision that I want to be something else, but they'll sell out to pay some cheap ass bills. So they're like, fuck, well, I want to do that, but that's part of the test, is that it was fucking impossibly difficult to still raise the family, do all this, and be working on your ultimate vision. But they just sell out for a paycheck, and they think the people who have money sold out. It's like, no, the people who have money didn't sell out. They chased their grand vision. The normal people sold out. They didn't want to be a bus driver, but they sold out for a small ass check. They just sold out for nothing.
The people that we've had on here in yourself, they're all the people that have built their businesses and brands off of transparency and just being yourself. And all the people that I look up to aren't the suit and tie, successful. It's the people that get on, talk about the real shit, talk about their past, fucking curse, talk about fucking, talk about whatever. People that built their brand and their businesses off their true character and being fully transparent.
That's one of the things I teach people too when they're trying to coach others. I'm like, the fuck you talking to that person like that for? I'm like, you're fake. And they're like, what do you mean I'm fake? I'm just being nice. I'm like, that's fake. And they're like, why? I'm like, you're placating them for a sale. You don't talk to yourself that way when shit's rough. They're going through rough shit. What's your self-talk like when you're going through rough shit, you bitch? And they're just like, I'm like, how do you talk to yourself? And they're just like, well, I can't talk to a client like that. I'm like, you definitely have to talk to them like that, or get them to talk to themselves like that. So that's what I do, is I end up being someone's self-talk through my content. You don't yell at them directly like that. You put out content of your self-talk, and your self-talk in turn they end up absorbing your self-talk as theirs. Now they govern themselves through that same internal dialogue. Now you're teaching them the way you taught yourself, so you're truly authentic. Other bitch ass coaches are like, no, it's okay. You can have beer and pizza, and you can you're not even attacking the root, which is the discipline. You're giving them a way out and making them weaker. And the thing is like, they're just placating for the sale. Like, we'll make it so easy. This is really easy. I'll make it easy for you. Here's me. Nah, it's fucking hard as fuck. Like, you can't fucking do it. Like, I'm going to make it difficult as fuck for you. And this is what is really going to work, is that you're going after something that's difficult to become stronger so that everything in life is easier. And that's what we do. I mean, I start people off with something that they're not comfortable with, but not crazy. You can't come in at waking up at 7 and then I'm like, okay, 2:45. I'm just going to move you back an hour or an hour and a half. I'm like, let's just do this time, get used to it, because it's going to be equally as hard as whatever. It's harder for you. So I slowly make it harder for you. What's harder for you makes you more proud. And I mean, we're just giving you those pride and those wins all throughout the day. Like, people's definitions are fucked up. Like they think a wake up time is negative. Like I got to get up at 2:45, and I'm like, nah. Like that wake up to me is the definition of how grateful I am as a man to get up today and be my best self. So what's your definition for your daily habits? When you tell someone diet, they automatically go negative. Oh, a diet. I'm like, no. Macronutrients the macronutrients we're tracking and eating to get you your gains. Those macronutrients are your baseline discipline increase. Every time you're eating that meal, you're increasing your baseline discipline so that you're strong enough to weather all your weaknesses. If I gain you discipline through 5 meals a day by choosing purpose over pleasure, we're going to hardwire your mind, habitually construct the mind of someone who chooses purpose over pleasure in other areas of their life, like your drinking, like your anger, like everything. We're using the most simple things that we all have to do every day to then habitually construct the mindset that has the internal attributes to fight your main weaknesses and vices.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking golden, man.
It's got to be the definitions. So what are you going to work out for? Well, I don't want a six-pack and to be all buff like you, Wes. And I'm like, well, you do. I go to just be positive. I already have a six-pack. I'm already buff. Why am I still going? I go to get that positive mental attitude. I go to raise my rate of vibration because I have to come back to my son with that good energy where when I tell him, I love you, son, I love you. He's like, my dad does love me. I feel it. Instead of that fake ass dad who's been talking shit about his job, his life, and everything all morning and hates himself and then tells his son he loves him. Now his son's like, what's happening? Like, he's telling me he loves me, but I don't feel love from this man. And it's because that man has created such poor energy, a poor rate of vibration, that the energy exchange isn't congruent. And people miss all this. But in prison, this shit's obvious. Like in prison, like when someone's energy changes up, you're like, fuck is happening, you know? And this is why it's like that. And if someone has a bitch ass attitude, I'm like, stop that shit, motherfucker. Wipe that shit off your fucking face. They're like, what? I'm not doing anything. I said, get rid of that shit right now. And they're just like, what? I'm like, I ain't dealing with your shit. They're like, I didn't say anything. I'm like, you didn't have to, motherfucker. And it's just accountable to your subconscious thoughts, accountable to your energy. Everybody out here is just accountable to their fucking actions. I mean, that's fucking elementary. So that's why I teach people to have non-negotiable actions. Once your actions are non-negotiable, all your energy goes towards governing your subconscious thoughts, and your fucking energy. If you don't have to spend any energy on your actions, your daily habits, because they're non-negotiable, and you do them all the time, then all your energy can go internal. Now you're just governing yourself internally at the root that makes you fail on the non-negotiable actions. So what we do is we make sure we're spending all our energy on the thoughts that cause us to negotiate with the actions we're trying to talk ourselves out of. And we do that with core belief construction and having massive core values that talk us out of the negotiations that keep us stagnant and cause us to regress.
Oh yeah. Before I let Dave kick it with his usual wrap up question, I wanted to touch on something that you brought up a few times that I think is it's something that I love and I think about a lot, and I feel like it hits home, for you, especially because you brought it up, is gratitude and seeing people out there that they all take for granted what they have. They're not grateful to wake up. They're not grateful to wake up and be able to make their own choices. When you were in there, everything was scheduled. So having gratitude for things, it seems like that's like a pillar for a lot of the stuff you build on. Is that something you practice and preach a lot?
Gratitude is a soul emotion that kicks open the door to higher intelligence. Like you tap into infinite intelligence, you tap into the wisdom of the universe, the wisdom of the ages. You tap into that through gratitude. And gratitude is action. The actions you partake in. These cupcakes out here got a pen and paper out, sitting on their fucking couch, comfortable as fuck, eating a fucking Dunkin' stick. Like, I'm grateful for my puppy and my fucking job. It's like, dude, gratitude is the actions you partake in to create the life for everybody you love and yourself. Gratitude is action. Gratitude is results. I mean, you can't just say you're grateful. Prove it, motherfucker. Create the life of your dreams at this one go around we got. I mean, the motherfuckers aren't proving it. So that's why my wake up time at 2:45, that's me proving my gratitude. And I'm waking up and just telling the universe, I'm just like, hey, I'm going to be my best today. I'm going to work everything towards this. How can I best serve everybody today? I'm a man of service. I'm getting up to create the best me to serve everybody best today. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, what is more grateful than the fact that you're going to break something as pleasurable as sleep to get up and create the best life you can? And people aren't doing that. They're so negative about their wake up. They're so negative about their life. They don't realize that negative self-talk, that negative internal dialogue is causing them to just be so far out of alignment. But the main thing is what I do, I don't count what I'm grateful for. I just check ungrateful thoughts. And I call everything ungrateful. Shit you wouldn't call ungrateful, I do. Even if I'm in an argument with my wife and like I want to victimize. Like, why are you doing this to me? Me. I sit there and I go, no. I'm just even grateful to be loved by this woman. I'm grateful to be in this argument with her. I'm grateful to be breathing. I'll just start coming backwards on like the most obvious shit, but stemming from like something someone wouldn't be grateful for. So, I mean, I've just even in prison, like I would do that in my cell. I would at least have 3 trays coming. I'm like, I'm grateful for this food. There's plenty of people who are on the streets right now. They don't even have a cell. Like, honestly, I'm gonna send them strength. I got plenty, and that's true abundance. When I was in a cell and I'm basically meditating, and I know I'm so powerful, but I'm in a supposed dire situation in the shoe, haven't seen anybody for fucking months. I'm just in there by myself, 23 hours a day locked down, and then we go out to the cages to work out. And so I haven't really been in contact with anybody, just cages and behind windows. And I mean, so then I'm still there operating at such a high level of self-worth and internal strength that I'm gifting my strength and love to people around the world that needed it more than me. And to me, you couldn't tell me that these people weren't real people. And it was just the level of abundance that I would operate from. Just, I don't fear losing anything. People are like, Wes, like, are you making the right investments? Are you doing all this shit? I'm like, trust me, I do everything is to my capacity of understanding everything. I do my greatest ability. But the fact is, everything's a plus to me, bro. This is why you guys all fucking suck out here. This is why everybody is being so hindered, because they have 37 years of weight on their shoulders that they're supposed to be something. So what happened to me was I went to prison for so long. I came out and there was no weight. I wasn't supposed to be anything. In all reality, like, I wasn't being held to shit. I just did 10 years. Like, just don't go back real quick. Don't be a dumb fuck. Don't be a wreck. But I wasn't holding myself to society's standard. I was just like, I'm going to be a good man. I'm going to be a good man. And so the thing being is that weight people place on them, that scarcity, that fucking is just what's holding them back. Some people don't even want to get anything for fear of losing it. They're like, they're fearful of me losing what I got. I'm like, bro, I won. And they're like, what do you mean you won? I'm like, I was in prison for 10 years and now I'm living like this. Even if it's just for today, I won. And they're worried about if I could potentially lose it and if they ever get anything that they might lose it. Like, what the fuck is that?
Fuck that.
Oh yeah. No, I mean that's just something I heard you hit on a bunch of times, and it's something I think about a lot, and especially with most people nowadays is that gratitude. But
yeah, gratitude is action. Life is one big gratitude test. I mean,
I fucking love it.
How grateful you are when everything falls apart. That's your level.
Fuck yeah, Dave. I'll let you hit him with your special.
Yeah, man. So actually, I got 2 questions because I wanted to ask you this at some point before we wrapped up. But like, we've talked a lot about the past. We've talked a lot about what you've got going on now and everything. You know, what's the future look like? What are the future plans? You know, are you targeting something in 5-10 years? You got anything big brewing? What's all that look like for you?
For me, really, everyone asks me stuff like that. My main goal every day is to not break character. So I just literally master each day. And so it's just about mastering each day. But the main plans this year are, I have a book coming out. So I have a book dropping this year. And then, I'm going to work with some supplements. I'm going to do some supplements. And then I'm going to do I'm going to heighten up my business coaching program. That's the only thing. I don't do too many things a year. I'm one of those like 3 to 5 things a year guys. I'm not a 15 things a year guy.
Got it. I love it, man. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear more about the book. I'll definitely read it.
It's going to be fire.
Yeah. Awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
excited for that.
Well, so we wrap with this question with every guest. What advice do you have to, just a short little summary for young men today, maybe, 18 to 22 years old, or even to yourself at that age? What advice would you give yourself if you could, to basically, live your best life and be successful?
It'll probably just be a mixture, like two quotes. But I say what our life's purpose is to create the man we admire so we can just give him away. So that's what I believe everybody should be doing. Like the man you unbiasedly admire. If all the work was just insignificant because your vision was so strong. And I mean, create that man you admire so you could give him to the world. That's what I believe all our life's purpose is. But then as you come across things in life, don't victimize. Life's happening for you. Every one of those fucking problems is a gift. You're asking for it. You wanted to be stronger, right?
Exactly.
So here you go.
Test yourself. This is your opportunity. Yeah. I love it, man. Well, thank you so much, Wes. I know you're a busy guy. We appreciate your time.
I loved it. This is what I love more than anything. I mean,
fucking amazing. It really was.
Yeah, Wes, I appreciate you hopping on, dude, and opening up with some stuff. I know there's going to be a lot of listeners out there. They're going to be able to, it's going to resonate well with, and it's going to be a fucking awesome episode. So I appreciate you taking the time, getting out of the sun for a little bit while we're freezing off up here. But
I don't even want to go in the sun. I mean, yesterday was so awesome because I saw more people that I've seen out in the last 7 months. Like everything's starting to open back up. Everybody was out and about. And I'm like, fucking finding with this bullshit,
Yeah.
It's been fucking tough. Sorry, dude.
You're good. Real quick, where can everybody find you on Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff?
Instagram, it's Watson_fit. Top on my coaching program, it's weswatson.com. My YouTube channel is GP Penitentiary Life with Wes Watson. And those are my main modes of operation. I mean, we're living it. We ain't stopping. We know it's not about us, and we want to bring everybody up. That's it. Like we gotta bring a rite of passage to everybody because they're doing the wrong shit. And literally, it's about that hard life that makes life worth living.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, brother. It was an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to seeing what else you do in the future.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome.
Let's fucking go, baby. Love that.
Go. Let's fucking go.